Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here, youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about WWE Smackdown from this past Friday. Of course, we got some news after that about, some news about that. Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns going down in Saudi Arabia. So we're going to talk a little bit about why the WWE is doing that, the real reason perhaps why they're doing that, because I always like dropping the phrase real reason because it's
real reason
views, the real reason. Also, one of the streaming services airing WWE is going to be dropping the WWE. Find out which one a little bit later on in the show. Malakai Black issued a statement about his status in the world of pro wrestling. Sounds like he might be taking a leave for a little while. We're going to talk about that. But first, we're also going to be talking about War Games.
We'll save it.
But first. Oh, I'm going to say War Games at least 5 times through this episode.
All right, very well. Very well.
But first, MJF, of course, made his big return to AEW at All Out, and he's been a fixture on the product since then. Of course, he might figure in a major way at Grand Slam this coming Wednesday, but it sort of left a lot of us wondering, so wait, what's his deal? Because as you recall, back in what was it? It wasn't June. When was it?
It was May, June. Early June. Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness gracious, it was that he delivered that really fiery promo on Tony Khan saying, "Fire me, fire me, fire me," and then he disappeared, and then he came back, and of course there was all sorts of stuff about contract situations, an impasse, if you will, between AEW and MJF. Well, just today, MJF appeared on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani and confirmed that upon his return to AEW, he in fact did sign a new deal for more money, but with no additional time. In short, he's making more money, but will still be a free agent in 2024 when he's looking forward to be a free agent and will probably be the focal point of a pretty gnarly...
The bidding war of 2024.
Heated bidding war of 2024.
And as he also said on with Ariel Helwani, he's going to go where he can make the most money.
He's in it for the bag, man. He's in it for the bag. So, this isn't terribly shocking, given that there did seem to be a pretty firm stalemate between the two sides, between Tony Khan, AEW, and MJF.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that that this is actually the situation here? That Tony Khan was like, "Oh, all right, well, I got to get this guy in, so I might as well give him what he wants."
I was kind of surprised that he would set. I mean, I guess it depends on how large of a raise MJF is getting between now and 2024. If it's a pretty significant raise, and I'm pretty surprised that Tony Khan would set the precedent of signing someone to a deal for a lot more money without adding more years to it. That's just kind of the baseline in the world of professional sports, that if you want a new deal for more money, you got to tack on more years at the end of it, or rip the old contract up and sign a new one for a longer term than the existing contract had left. At the same time, though, with Triple H taking over creative and WWE, the buzz now is behind WWE and Triple H. You got to get some buzz in your own product. So maybe Tony Khan felt, well, I kind of have to do this to keep eyeballs on my company. He probably thought with Punk recapturing the title at All Out, that continuing his story with MJF through the fall, maybe early winter next year, since it was one of the better feuds that AEW has done in recent memory, would help get some momentum back for the company, especially with potentially negotiating a new TV deal. No one can foresee Punk going off and Brawl Out.
Yeah, right.
And the subsequent brawl backstage. But to a degree, I'm surprised. But given what's going on in the wrestling industry, it makes sense. Sometimes you got to do these things, even though you might not want to set that precedent.
Well, here's the thing about establishing the precedent. How many people are going to be able to come up to Tony Khan with the same situation and say, hey, You did it for him. Can you do it for me? Well, let's take a look at the numbers and what kind of ratings draw you are. By all accounts, MJF is a pretty big, quarter hour, minute by minute, whatever you want to call it, ratings draw. He always points that out himself. And so, yeah, if you have somebody who can actually do that, who can draw ratings, AEW, they've been fairly stable with their ratings, but they haven't really grown over a long period of time. They have periods where they'll spike when there's interest. I mean, this past week they did a really, really good number.
3 weeks in a row they've gotten over 1 million, yeah.
And you would think at Grand Slam they would probably do something pretty well as well, also. But in terms of, 3 months on, 6 months on, et cetera, to establish, well, it's not, okay, we can say it's been 3 weeks in a row they've done over 1 million. Well, they probably want 3 months in a row where it's over 1 million, where they're
reaching
probably
to get 12 months in a row where it's over 1 million. They want that to be the norm.
Right, exactly. And so you're heading into these new TV deals that they might be looking at. And obviously they want to make sure these numbers are as high as possible. And whatever MJF is getting paid, it's probably a small amount, compared to what they would possibly be getting for the TV deal.
I didn't mean to imply during what I just said that MJF isn't worth getting more money. He is, because the numbers bear that out. His performance bears that out. From the very beginning, Tony Khan been like, okay, yes, I'm dramatically underpaying you. By any conceivable metric, yes, I should. It's just, it seemed to be like when we first heard about this, the reports were Tony Khan was worried about setting the precedent of giving Sting a substantial raise without
as well he should have been.
Yeah, that's the norm in sports usually. But, it's not very often that someone gets a massive raise without making concession of their own.
Yeah. But the bottom line is, if MJF, who has the leverage in this situation, and he has leverage like not a lot of people would have, then he was able to get evidently what he wanted. So yeah, that's cool. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. I just like seeing the guy on my TV because I think that he's fun to watch.
Yep.
He's probably the promo of his generation.
Oh yeah.
Real good wrestler, and he's found himself because of his talent in a spot that a lot of people I think would be envious of.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah,
and he's still 26 years old, something like that.
Oh my God, if that, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's got a massive career left ahead of him. And yeah, I mean, when you're a professional wrestler, heck, when you're in any line of work, like your first duty is to maximize your earning potential. And that's what he did here. So good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man, this is exciting, dude. People have been talking about the possibility of this. You and I have been talking about the possibility of this, about, of course, WWE, now that it's under the creative auspice of Paul Levesque, the possibility of War Games, bloody War Games returning on main roster, because of course we've seen it in NXT.
Oh, yes.
But Vince McMahon famously has been anti-War Games because the idea of
all
two
those
rings,
floor seats can't sell. Yeah,
all those floor seats. You can't get that extra money for the floor seats. Announced this morning by The Ringer, there will be not one, but 2 War Games matches at this year's Survivor Series Bloody War Games. Triple H spoke to The Ringer about bringing War Games to Maine, saying this: we'll have a men's War Games match and a women's War Games match. The tradition of the Survivor Series.
Recall, that's tough.
Wasn't that pretty good?
I got the idea, yeah.
The tradition of the Survivor Series has ebbed and flowed and changed slightly over time, but this will be similar to that. This will not be Raw versus SmackDown. It will be much more storyline driven. I still look at it as a traditional component to Survivor Series in there because it's large teams of people competing. We just upped the ante a little bit with War Games and made it evolve. Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Who's it going to be?
Great.
Who's it going to be? For the men's, it's got to be Bloodline. I could be wrong. Part of me feels like they don't want Roman in this match because it's really physical and they don't want to risk injury to Roman and potentially jeopardizing whatever plans they have for WrestleMania. So I would assume it'd be the Usos, it'd be Solo, it'd be Sammy representing the Bloodline in that match against another team of 4, but I'm not sure who.
I'd be hard pressed to think that Roman wouldn't be in this match, man. I get your point about him not want to fuck him up or anything, but at the same time, like, they're paying him a shit ton of money to be in marquee matches.
Yeah,
and this is a marquee match. It
is, but it's a match type that will sell itself. Especially the first time on the main roster.
People they'll fucking throw so much shade at WWE if Roman's not in that match. It's Roman's isn't that match. That's going to be five. It's going to be all 5 of the Bloodline, man. I mean, they can get maybe that dude who always goes to WWE shows dressed up like Roman Reigns.
Maybe.
I put him in there because then you get like the cage, so you can't really see a whole lot.
Yeah, exactly. You just keep everything in long shot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You'd think for the women's bout, Damage Control would be one team, maybe against Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss. But as far as who would be on the opposite side of the ring as Bloodline, not exactly sure. I mean, I guess they could, if they want, continue this Logan Paul thing.
Oh God,
it would be Logan and 3 people, 3 partners for him against Roman or the Bloodline.
Well, I mean, look, you already have Kevin Owens talking about Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn and whatnot, so you can have Kevin Owens in there. Just have Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. 1-on-5. I don't know. I'm trying to think of
who's everybody's had beef with Bloodline? Because you could have Riddle in there.
God, everybody, yeah.
Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm. You can have Drew McIntyre.
Could have Drew, but he might be busy with Karrion Kross. He might
still busy with
by
Cross,
this point.
Yeah. He sort of had his opportunity. I don't think he has any more beef.
No, if they're going to come back around to that, it's going to be after he's had a feud with Cross.
Yeah. Maggie mentions Rollins.
Nakamura says hard.
Nakamura, yeah. Braun, possibly. Yeah.
Maybe. Could be.
Jonathan says Logan and his podcast crew. Oh, the worst. So I don't know. Look, the Bloodline, they've rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's just, you go up and down the roster, you can see all sorts of people there.
Oh, yeah. No shortage of people to potentially take on Bloodline in this match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. What about the White Rabbit, Bray Wyatt?
Yeah,
Jefferson Airplane superfan, Bray Wyatt.
There we go.
And then he has everybody else in his team dress up as the various costumes of the puppets that he used to hang out with.
Or various characters from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, there you go, yeah. The Cheshire Cat.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of all I know. He's the Mad Hatter.
Yeah, there's Mad Hatter. There's the White Rabbit, obviously.
The White Rabbit, Cheshire Cat.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. And Alice herself.
There's a lot of other characters in there. It's been a while.
Bandana Finn. Wasn't Bandana Finn a character in Alice in Wonderland?
I mean, if memory serves, yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about this, man. Malakai Black. Amidst rumors that he had asked for and or had been given his release from AEW, Malakai Black posted a lengthy statement on Instagram confirming that he had asked for his release, stating in part, quote, "I did indeed ask for my release. The last 2 years of my life have lended to a lot of setbacks. Both me and my wife have been affected by uncontrollable actions from the outside that resulted in loss of life, medical setbacks, career jeopardizing, the suicide of a close friend and a close family member almost losing their life, then experiencing an injury that I was sure was the end of my career. I spend every week going through several sessions of rehab, dry needling and therapy just to be able to walk and compete. Now this being the tip of the iceberg, and with the combination of the promises in my professional field that were not upheld, which resulted as a combination of all these to a complete demoralization of life and career. This decision has been in my mind for the past 6 months." Malakai concluded his statement by saying, "Perhaps once my mind settles on certain things and processes the last 2 years a bit better, will convey via a different platform than written out what exactly happened and have a more informed conversation about them. For now, know that I am good and I'm taking, for the first time in 22 years, a few months to recalibrate the last 2 decades of my life. Lastly, I've read a few narratives online in regards to my quote-unquote release, mental health, and my personal life that I can summarize swiftly. If it didn't come from me, it didn't happen. Stuff about conditional releases, stuff in my marriage, or using said mental health to leverage the other, when, as said before, that part wasn't even going to be part of the public conversation or false. My marriage is fine. It's just time to make sure those things stay that way. Once again, appreciate your support, and we'll see each other soon enough." So obviously, one of the more interesting aspects of this is where he brings up, the promises in his professional life that remain upheld. Like he says, when he's ready to talk about this stuff in detail.
Exactly. I mean, elsewhere in the statement, he takes issue with talk of his mental health getting out there when those conversations were private.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I completely understand. He seems like an insanely creative dude.
Yeah.
Like he is just, you hear him talk about some of the ideas he had when he was in WWE and the level of detail that he was putting into his work there that didn't really lead anywhere. Super creative guy, super smart.
Yeah.
And I know we're a wrestling podcast. We talk about wrestling. Life takes precedent. And if he needs to take time away to make sure that, he can take care of himself, then by all means, he's got to do that. And so nothing but the best for Malakai and his wife. And hopefully, if after a few months he takes some time away and decides he wants to give another try, then, hopefully it's awesome. And hopefully he's in a position where he can do the work and be involved in interesting storylines. But if he takes time and decides, I need a longer stretch away, I don't want to come back at all, then heck, more power to him, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, he's an incredibly creative guy. There's plenty of outlets out there for people with a creative mind like that. Whether, like, as we've seen with Bray Wyatt going to do movies, CM Punk at one point did like a comic book. I know a number of wrestlers have dived into comic books a little bit. So yeah, he is sort of one of those dudes who I'd kind of like to see what he has to offer, creatively speaking, outside of wrestling. Because as you've as you've stated before, sometimes two dudes fake fighting in a ring is a bit limiting when you might have larger stories that you want to tell. But in any event, man, obviously we nothing but good vibes and best wishes to Malakai Black, to Tommy End, to Tom Budgeon. And yeah, so this next story here about streaming services is boring as hell. I'm gonna go grab my phone because it's on my.
It's here.
It's here. Yeah.
All right.
So you talk about this shit.
Well, I mean, it may be boring for you, but people who watch WWE's content on Hulu may not find that this is boring. So if you're one of the people that are keeping tabs on WWE content via Hulu, well, after this upcoming weekend, you might need to find another way to watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Total Divas, Total Bellas, Main Event, pretty much anything that WWE produces. PW Insiders reporting that all WWE content could be pulled from Hulu this upcoming Saturday, September 25th, as the deal between WWE and Hulu is set to expire. But PW Insider adds that the two sides are in the process of negotiating a new deal. So if you watch your WWE stuff on Hulu, there's still a chance it'll continue, but unless a deal is struck, I believe, by this weekend, all WWE content gone.
Wow.
Gone.
Yeah, man. I
know sometimes you watch stuff on Hulu, right?
Dude, the problem is, like, on Hulu, like I've watched NXT on Hulu. Like, some things are cool. They're like, what is it? I think Smackdown, they show everything. And it's all commercial free, so you get everything in, like, I don't know, an hour and 40 minutes or whatever.
Yeah. But for Raw, they cut stuff out because they have to get in that 2-hour time frame.
Yeah, but they do the same thing for NXT. They bring NXT down to an hour. So, like, they don't.
That's a half-hour show they're cutting out.
I know. No, I know. They cut out a lot. So, yeah, it's sort of useless if you cover it anyways. But also, even if you don't cover it, they cut out some good stuff. You have to, like,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a drag. But, hopefully if they do it, they do it so you get everything.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Larson, more and more professional athletes are speaking out about the importance of mental health these days, and we've seen several top stars take time away to tend to their own mental well-being. But pro athletes aren't the only ones who need to take care of their mental health. Therapy is the best way for anybody to stay in peak mental shape.
Yeah, I've been there before myself. There was a point in my life about 20 years ago where I was dealing with severe anxiety, and I realized I needed to go to therapy. Having gone through the process of trying to find a therapist, I can tell you firsthand that it isn't always easy finding the right person to talk to, But once I found a therapist I felt comfortable with, I started gaining the tools necessary to better deal with my anxiety. Today, BetterHelp is a great option because it makes the process of finding a therapist much more convenient and accessible. All you got to do to get connected with a therapist is fill out a quick online survey, and you can switch therapists at any time.
So when you're ready to feel at the top of your mental health game, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
I got one more news story before we get to some Rampage and Smackdown. So, of course, literally as we were finishing up Friday's episode, I was about to hit upload on the audio. I know Steve was about to do the same on the video. Dave Meltzer tweeted out that there was some, quote, major WWE news about to drop Friday afternoon. And then a matter of minutes later, Wrestling Observer had the scoop. WWE was be holding a press conference Saturday in Las Vegas to announce the main event for WWE Crown Jewel, Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, yeah.
So we had to wrestle with the idea of whether we were going to add that news story.
Oh, no. So here was the thing. There was a little bit of miscommunication there on text message because I thought that like major... Look, here's the thing. These days, major news is WWE selling.
Yeah.
AEW selling. Yeah. Maybe like there's a Ring of Honor TV deal.
Yeah.
Maybe that's major news. Somebody dies. Somebody gets arrested that's like a major name and has to vacate the title. There's a fight backstage that that leads to your EVPs get. Major news these days is not the announcement that Roman Reigns is fighting Logan Paul in a nothing match on a nothing pay-per-view. That is not major news.
Not really major news. Nonetheless, that press conference did happen Saturday. Match was made official. And on the most recent Sunday night's main event podcast, Dave Meltzer speculated, at least it seems like speculation, as to why the match is happening. Just 2 matches into Logan Paul's career. These are the transcripts from Wrestle Talk. He being Logan Paul, he's a big deal in Saudi Arabia. He's a big deal to the Saudi Arabian prince. And that's the whole thing of these shows. Nothing to do with selling tickets. Tickets in Saudi Arabia mean nothing. It's not even part of the game. Of course, TV numbers, whatever. If he draws younger viewers, that's good, but it's not a play for TV ratings. It's a play because the prince wants celebrity fights in Saudi Arabia to build the name in the media of Saudi Arabia. And Logan Paul will get more of the type of press that Saudi Arabia is looking for than Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins. That's what Saudi Arabia is there for. Saudi Arabia is for matches that the prince wants that will get press attention around the world for Saudi Arabia. So this is a great match for that.
This comes off as exactly that, an obligation. Even the way, look, and we'll talk about this here. I guess we can sort of dive into the SmackDown aspect of things.
Sure. Because Logan Paul opened the show, so yeah.
There has been, Triple H gave the Logan Paul stuff 0 effort. None. The idea that Logan Paul can come out and be a babyface, there was like a bunch of different ways you might have been able to write this so the crowd would have given a shit. But the way they did was not it. This was not good. Like having Sami Zayn is number one of the most over wrestlers right now.
Yeah.
He shows up and the crowd just starts buzzing and chanting his name.
They start chanting his name, yeah.
And so having Logan Paul sucker punch him and then run away and he's supposed to be like the good guy here, it made no sense whatsoever, and it's not compelling at all. And this is coming from a guy who was singing Logan Paul's praises after SummerSlam because he legitimately did a good job there.
Yeah, he did.
There's a way you could have made this entertaining, and it's almost as if there was no interest in doing that here. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm totally fine with this because it gets it out of the way on a nothing show. Like half of I know they do stuff that can matter in Saudi Arabia sometimes.
Yeah, there's been title changes at these shows.
There's been, I think once the title change, like the Universal title change happened.
I mean, Goldberg beat Bray.
Yeah.
At one of the Saudi shows.
Yeah. But and they can be fun sometimes. Like I think Goldberg versus Lashley was the death match was at a Saudi show?
Oh, the Falls Count Anywhere one?
The Falls Count Anywhere one?
So.
I think that was
because the first match was
show.
at SummerSlam where Goldberg had the knee issue. Yeah.
And they're fun shows. I like the morning shows. They're cool. We get some McGriddles. It's great. but like they're kind of nothing shows, it is what it is. So I'm kind of glad they're just getting it out of the way, because now we never really have to explore, what if Logan Paul is going to fight for a title where he's doing it here, he's going to lose, and that's it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be a good but not too competitive match.
Yeah. Because it shouldn't be competitive in the least.
At all. It should not be competitive.
It should not be competitive in the least. I guess we can just jump right into SmackDown now, because Logan did play a pretty significant part at the beginning of it, especially. He opened the show with a promo. This all springs from Roman being on Logan's podcast.
Right.
I guess Roman was interviewed, and as soon as he left, Logan started talking shit.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Again, not exactly a babyface move.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you do. Like, I feel like there's ways to get him over with the WWE crowd. Like, people naturally want to boo him because they sort of think, when I think a lot of people who aren't terribly familiar with him might be familiar with the Suicide Forest stuff. Yeah. Which is primarily what I knew him from.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, this guy's a piece of crap. But evidently he's apologized since then. I don't know much about him other than what I see on WWE TV, and he seems to be pretty polished promo. That being said, I feel like this promo was kind of a heat check, because it wasn't terribly good. He wasn't terribly convincing. And I went back to being like, I don't care about him. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Elsewhere on the show, we got more development of this ongoing Bloodline storyline. Seems like Solo Sikoa, at least for the time being, a huge fan of Sami Zayn, not so much a huge fan of his older brother Jay, especially after Jay cost Sami his match against Ricochet. And then what else do we get here? We got Ronda versus Liv is now an Extreme Rules match at Extreme Rules pay-per-view.
What do you think of Liv's I guess performance, acting, if you will? I'm not sure if I like it or not. I think it's different than like her acting like she's on the verge of crying all the time, and I like that.
She seems less, I was supposed to say less nervous, but I feel like the anxiety is directed in a different way as opposed to being less nervous, if that makes sense.
No, it kind of does.
Like, for a while, it seemed like she was just, I understand it. You're out there, you have to talk in front of a bunch of people live.
Yeah.
I would basically be pooping my pants if I had to do that every time. So I'm not going to besmirch anybody for having anxiety about being in that situation.
Right,
but it went from seemingly being
the job she chose.
Yeah, I know. But still, I understand having butterflies in your stomach for that kind of stuff, and I get that. But it seems like instead of being potentially nervous about doing a promo, it's like she's nervous about, like, her anxiety in this situation actually feels a bit more character motivated than Liv Morgan as an individual.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Where it's like she's stepping up to Ronda with a certain degree of bluster because she has to, maybe, knowing that she kind of got away with a couple against Ronda before. Like, she can hang her hat on the idea that she's the only person to pin her twice. One was a cash in, the other was like a ref botch.
Yeah.
She hasn't had a decisive win against Ronda. And if she's like, I have to come in there and kind of puff my chest up a little bit and not, but at the same time, not exactly being 100% confident in my words as Liv Morgan, the character. But that could be me just reading too much into it. Maybe she's still nervous about just like having to do talkie bits. I don't know.
That was a lengthy roadmap there.
It was. I'm just trying to find something else, and then like, she seemed nervous still.
Well, I don't know. Like, I like, so when during Ronda's the 5-way, the elimination thing, and Liv was up there, and I liked it. She had like all sorts of sort of bluster and attitude and stuff, and it's like, I like that. It's like, oh man, she has 2 wins on Ronda Rousey, and nobody else can say that ever. That's a really good selling point right there.
It is. But if you look at it a little deeper, they're not exactly decisive wins.
No, they're not. And so it's like, and now she has an opportunity with Extreme Rules to get another kind of not decisive win because it's Extreme Rules. She can't beat her one-on-one straight up.
Nope.
And so, but no, I like on one end, I kind of like it because she's kind of going like an Anton Chigurh route, It's like, Ronda, I've got 2 wins against you, friendo, and she puts the thing on.
Yeah.
So I like that it's different. I like that she doesn't seem like she's on the verge of tears all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would ascribe too much to like her, doing some method acting here. I just think that she's trying a different approach and being somebody who's got some, some attitude to them now. Yeah. And I appreciate that there's some thought put into it,
Yeah, but I mean, I think if there was some attitude, but at the same time, a sense of false bravado,
it might look like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could be
because she did do, I like this, the kind of monotonous talking, but it still didn't sound like there is a whole lot of confidence there, you know?
Yeah. But I don't know if that's her or her character. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. And then what was the main event?
Main event was the tag match where I didn't take a whole lot of notes because it was a crazy match and it really wouldn't do it justice.
Yeah, but the Brawling Brutes got the win here. So now they're the number 1 contenders to lose to the Usos at maybe Extreme Rules, who knows. Yeah, no, it was a fine SmackDown. Obviously the highlight of anything is Sami Zayn. Him and his, being on the come up, and Jay, trying to pump up Solo and be like, hey, come on, let's go out there. No, Jay, you're off your game today. You coming, Sammy? And it's like, oh, Sammy, you're swimming with sharks, man. You're going to get eaten. I don't know when, but I get the feeling they've got something really good planned for that.
Yeah. And maybe that'll all come to a head at Survivor Series and War Games. And then kick off, whatever story Sammy's going to be in terms of falling out with the bloodline, leading into the winter up on the road to WrestleMania. So apparently this tag match for the tag titles is going to be on Friday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not Extreme Rules. Friday.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just talk about it here. Logan Paul comes out, dropped a promo. He says, oh, I think I did it again. He says, I have a habit of opening my mouth and saying some stupid stuff. And this past week, I had Roman on my podcast. He says, after Roman left, I said that if I wrestled Roman, it'd be my match. He says, I opened my mouth before. He says about Floyd Mayweather, not even the greatest boxer of all time could put me down. He says, so I issue a challenge to Roman. And I'm taking the liberty of setting up a press conference tomorrow in Vegas. And if he's man enough, he'll meet me face to face. And then Paul Heyman and the Bloodline come down. And they all just start yapping away at each other. Logan, here's the thing. I don't want to bore people with this shit. The bottom line is Logan says, if I get one lucky shot on Roman, I could be the undisputed Universal Champion. And then, some of the Bloodline are sort of antsy to jump him, including Solo Sikoa. Sammy says, hey, chill out. And then he goes to Logan. He says, look, man, you're not from our world. Let me explain how things work around here. And then Logan sucker punches him. I did like the part where Sammy, Paul Heyman and Logan have a big back and forth. And Sammy's Paul, here, let me take this. I got this. And Heyman just says, okay, fine, and throws the mic at him.
Yeah. Logan does say to Solo that if you get in here, I can knock out Heyman and get out of this ring before you can even get in the ring. And that's when Sammy says, I got this. I'll take care of this.
Yeah, I got this clean.
So he does sucker punch Sammy and asks him, oh, is this how things work around here? So the Usos hit the ring. Logan runs out, and then Ricochet makes his entrance because he's got a match against Sami Zayn. Next, Michael Cole referenced Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, PWG, during this bout, saying Ricochet and, of course, El Generico had a match there 10 years ago.
That's still weird
about a decade
to me.
ago.
It's still weird to me when they do. I love it, though. I absolutely love it. It's something they should have been doing for decades now.
It's a simple thing.
Yeah.
Recognizing that wrestling exists outside of WWE.
And there's been times when they've done it. It's just on the regular now. You know, it's like they mentioned IW. They've talked about, I think it was Gallows and Anderson. Cole had mentioned their IWGP tag.
But they didn't mention New Japan back then, or if they did, it wasn't very often. They would never say Impact.
Yeah.
Until
like Mickey James showed up at the Rumble.
Yeah, historically speaking, when she showed up with the Knockouts title. So anyway, this match was awesome. In the end, Ricochet hits a running knee, so then Jay gets on the apron, takes a swing at Ricochet. He ducks that, drop kicks Jay off the apron. Sammy hits a dragon suplex, covers, but then Jay gets in the ring for some reason. The commentary played it off as earlier Logan Paul got in the apron to distract Sammy, so they were like, hey, is Jay getting in the ring just to cut off Logan from getting on the apron so the ref doesn't count. Anyways, ref doesn't count that pinfall. Initially, at first, goes over, counts it. Ricochet kicks out. So the Sammy gets out of the ring, gets in Jay's face, and starts arguing with him. Mm-hmm. Ricochet hits Sammy and the Usos with a tope, hits a shooting star press to get the win, and then the Bloodline get on the apron, and then Madcap Moss, who has a NXT North American title match later in the show, runs to the ring with a chair to even the numbers.
Yep. After that, we had a Karrion Kross promo. He says, "The hands of time decide the judgment. Last week for the chosen one, Mr. McIntyre, you were perfectly executed by the newly appointed People's Executioner." He says, "You fought back, but then I did what everybody else does. I let go." He says,
"No, he did. Drew did what everybody else does."
Yeah, whatever. He says, "That's the difference between them." He says, "I don't let anything go." He had just a bunch of cool stuff. He says, "I change the timelines. I rewrite history. And as for you, Drew, you're going to remain in an endless loop of suffering that I control. I'm going to make sure that you never get out." That's rad, man. He's controlling space and time, Larson.
I know. He's got powers.
Endless loop of time suffering. That's great.
Powers. After that, Maximum Male Models. Max and Maxine Dupree unveil the Back to School collection.
That was great.
And as soon as Massey and Mansois come to the ramp and strike a pose or two, Braun's music hits. He just completely destroys them.
God, yeah.
Just about puts Mansois through the ring with a power bomb. Then Chad Gable comes down the ramp, distracts Braun for a moment so Otis can attack him. And eventually, Alpha Academy gets the better of it. Otis hits Braun with a power slam. So they leave, and Braun just sits back up, like Undertaker style. He just gets right back up and tells Otis to get back in the ring. And Otis wants to get in there and fight, but Gable keeps him back. And I believe next week we're going to get Otis versus Braun.
That is true. We are, yeah. After that, we had a Damage Control promo. Bayley says, "I'm back on SmackDown, the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champ in history." She introduces Kai and Sky as Women's Tag Champs. Dakota Kai says, "That means we can go to any brand at any time and do anything we want." Io says, "SmackDown is our show now." Bayley says, "We destroyed Raquel and put Aaliyah on the shelf." She said, "This is what greatness looks like. What Damage Control has is something all the fans crave but will never get. Power." And Bayley is interrupted by Raquel Rodriguez. Says, "I don't see greatness at all. I see three bullies who hurt my partner and who are powerless to keep me from getting my revenge. I avenge thee."
Yeah, that match was next. She didn't get her revenge, really, because she lost. She's looking for a finish.
Yeah.
And so Dakota Kai distracts the ref. Io comes over and sticks her fingers in Raquel's eyes. It allows Bayley to escape the powerbomb. She hits a rose plant for the win. And so Damage Control is attacking Raquel. And then Shotzi runs to the ring and to make the save.
Yeah, man. Hopefully next week we'll get Shotzi's tank back. Now she's evidently good guy again.
Yeah, so that means tank.
Yeah, tank. Tank means good guy. After that, we had a Ronda Rousey interview. She's asked about the controversial ending against her last match against Liv. Ronda says there's not going to be anything controversial about the ending on Extreme Rules, and then Liv steps in, asks Kayla to leave. She does. Liv says, "I've never met anyone who says words that mean nothing more than you, Ronda." She says, "You don't respect me. I'm the only person to defeat you twice. And if there's anyone that she should respect, it's me, Liv Morgan." But no, Ronda says the same things that I've heard my whole career. "I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be champ. Last time I checked, your shoulders were on the mat and the title was put around my waist." But she knows nothing. She says, "I know nothing I say is going to make you respect me. So I'll do what I've done my entire career and earn it. But the only way I can do that is beat you again. And the only way I can do that is an Extreme Rules match, because basically I can cheat and it's legal." So she offers up. She challenges her to an Extreme Rules match. And then Ronda leans in. She says, "You want an Extreme Rules match? It's your funeral." And at that funeral, Ronda's going to say, "Liv can kick rocks."
Liv can kick rocks. Then commentary's doing some talking. Drew McIntyre jumps on the table, does a promo, says, "Cross, you have my attention. I've been waiting for you backstage, but it seems like if you aren't jumping people from behind, then you don't have the balls to face me like a man. So, Cross, going to ask you to do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Grow a set and face me. Time is running out for you, and the only countdown you need to worry about is 3, 2, 1, lights out."
Whoop. After that, Bloodline's backstage hyping up Solo. And Jimmy says, hey, it's time to represent the bloodline. Jay says, we got your back like we did last week. Solo says, no, you're off your game, Jay. I got this. And then he's leaving and says, Sammy, you coming? Sammy's like,
yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
Jay was not happy about that.
No. Then we got that match. Fun bout. At one point, Solo's looking for an Uranagi. Moss escapes that, rolls up Solo, gets a 2. Solo's looking for a crossbody. Moss catches that, hits a fallaway slam. He's about to do that shoulder tackle in the corner. Well, Sammy pulls Solo out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So then Moss gets out of the ring and chases Sammy around the ring back into it. And when Moss runs back in the ring, super kick from Solo. He follows with an Uranagi to get the win.
Yep. And then we had our main event. Hit Row versus The New Day versus Imperium versus the Brawling Brutes. Like you said earlier, this match was wildly fun. Just a lot of stuff going on. That sun is messing with you today, man.
Yeah, it's these cloudy days.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's in and out. It's in and out.
You know, makes its presence known.
Absolutely.
Right.
So anyways, Imperium hit. This is a wildly fun match.
Really
I still get nervous whenever Ridge is in the match, though. So Imperium hit their finish on Kofi. Ridge tags himself in, covers Kofi to get the win. And then apparently it was also revealed during this that Viking Raiders are going to be out for a while because I think
Eric is injured. Foot injury?
Oh, was it Eric? Yeah, it was Eric. You're right. Yeah, I think it was a foot injury. Yeah, that's a bummer. They had some steam behind them.
Yeah, it seems like once they get some momentum, something happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Also had a Rampage Friday evening.
This felt a bit more. I mean, it was a bit talky, but it felt like they're on the road to Grand Slam here, so they're just setting up a bunch of stuff. So a bunch of stuff was sort of announced for the Rampage Grand Slam 2-hour event.
Yep. We got a House of Black versus Darby and Sting no DQ match happening.
Mm-hmm.
This is between Dynamite Grand Slam and Rampage Grand Slam. So we got that. We got Jade defending the TBS title against Diamante. Mm-hmm. We're getting Eddie versus Sammy finally.
That's great.
Supposed to happen All Out.
Yeah, I had mentioned this before. Like Sammy, he's been a bit cryptic on his Twitter, and I don't know if it's just for this match to build interest. Oh, what's he gonna do? But he's posting tweets that make it sound like he's either leaving the show, or leaving AEW, or maybe his contract's up, or he's gonna not do his vlog anymore. I don't know. But yeah, because he posted like a bunch of I don't know, it was like a bunch of pictures of him with Cody. It was like 4 pictures, him with Cody, and it's all black and white, all very dramatic. I think he blacked out his Twitter profile too, and it's like the picture rather, and he's like his Twitter name is Samuel Guevara now. So I don't know.
That's interesting.
Maybe he's just trying to drum up some attention. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. We got Jericho versus Claudio for the Ring of Honor title.
That's going to be a hell of a match.
That'll be really good. Starks versus Hobbs. And then we got this golden ticket battle royal. So whoever wins this is next in line after whoever wins the Grand Slam.
Who would the?
Well, I guess there's MJF too.
On the image, it was Hangman, Pentagon, and there was 2 more. I forgot who the other 2 were. Do you remember seeing what it was?
No, I remember. I saw it, but I didn't know who was on there. No.
Yeah. So yeah, they get a golden ticket, like it's Willy Wonka.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I thought it was a decent episode. Right, it actually felt like
things happened.
It felt like it meant something this time. That was good.
Yeah. Opened up with Darby Allin versus Matt Hardy.
Oh, Lance Archer was one of them. That's right. Thank you. Who was this? Jamel said that. Yeah.
So Darby wins this one. He hits the code red, gets a 2 with that, follows with Last Supper to win. Darby leaves the ring and the lights come down. They come back up and Brody King and Julia Hart are in the ring. So Brody just drops Matt Hardy with the clothesline, grabs the mic, calls out Darby and Sting. So they come back out to the ramp and challenges them to a no DQ match at Grand Slam.
Yep. After that, we got an Eddie Kingston promo. According to Eddie, this was truncated because he cursed a lot. He says, I don't like Sammy.
Let some of it go.
Yeah. He was saying, people might think I don't like Sammy because, he's horny all the time and he loves his Twitter and he likes to be the center of attention. No, I don't like Sammy because he's a horrible human being. And so I'm going to beat the piss out of my Grand Slam. Beat the piss out.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's looking like so much more of a mess now because everything's just growing
let
out.
his beard grow out.
It
his
is
hair
out of
grow out,
control.
It's great.
Beat the piss out of him.
It's great. Then we got a Claudio interview. He's talking about how the Ring of Honor title represents, I think he said greatness. I forgot to write down what it represents. I was taking notes on my phone while watching this on the TV on the couch.
That is the worst.
It's tough to do in real time. And Blackpool Combat Club's a new symbol of excellence. Unfortunately, Yuta, you lost that pure title, Daniel Garcia. But again, it's not about wins and losses, about wins and learns. The best lessons in life you learn when you lose. I know you're going to get that title back.
There's plenty of titles in AEW. So.
Exactly.
Well, that's
next week. Mox, Danielson are in the finals for the title. And after the next week, we're going to have 2 world champs in the Blackpool Combat Club. And that's when Jericho gets up in commentary, says, I should be competing for that title. It's not because I tapped out. Well, of course he did tap out. Danielson. He says, I've been a world champ 7 times, but the one place I've never been champ is Ring of Honor. 7 isn't enough for me. I want 8. I want the Ocho.
The Ocho.
And then challenges Claudio to a Ring of Honor title bout at Grand Slam. Claudio accepts and says, I'm going to beat the hell out of you.
Should be a good one.
I thought Claudio was pretty good here.
Me too. It's funny. Claudio's like, I like to sort of see where people say, like, obviously Miro has greatly outperformed his WWE career. Like, he's on another level, right?
Yeah.
But Claudio is sort of what I think everybody just wanted, because it doesn't always happen that way. But Claudio is, I think, what everybody sort of just wanted from him in WWE. Just let him be himself. Let him be a terrific wrestler. He's the perfect Ring of Honor world champion guy. He just seems completely at ease. I really like his work in AEW since he's been there.
Then we got Jade Cargill interview. Kiera Hogan saying all this winning is getting boring. Jade says she's going to continue her streak and step on anybody in her way. Then Diamante steps in and tells Jade, if you wanted competition, all you had to do was challenge you to a TBS title match next week.
So, like, no disrespect at all to Diamante. She's been around forever. She's terrific.
Apparently, she's been going on a winning streak on Dark and Elevation.
Right. She's not on TV all that much. Doesn't this just further the cause for, like, just combining those 2 titles? like look at how stacked because they got another fatal 4-way for the Dynamite Grand Slam. And then Jade's over here fighting somebody who's primarily on Dark and Elevation. Like, just have a unification match and just have like a killer, like, single women's division. They don't really focus on the women's division that much anyways. Why don't you just have 1 title? Maybe if you want to spread the love around, establish tag titles for the women's division instead of
the alternative is actually Tony Khan should just do a better job booking the women's division.
Yeah, but I feel like it's more like that just ain't going to happen. So you do something that can fix I don't know. Yeah, that'd be great. But, like, they clearly don't push enough women for there to be 2 singles divisions. There's like barely, and they barely feature enough for 1 singles division. So just do that. I mean, I don't see him changing his philosophy anytime soon. Why don't you just combine the damn titles?
Next, we had Penelope Ford versus Willow Nightingale. It's always great seeing Willow on TV.
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
Penelope got the win here, though.
Yeah, that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah. She wins with the Deathlock. Fun match, though.
Yeah. Yeah. After that, we had Hangman in the Dark Order in an interview. Hangman apologizes for screwing up it all out. Reynolds says, look, it's in the past. Next week, we're all in the Golden Ticket Battle Royal. It's every man for themselves. And then Jose, the assistant, and Roosh step in. Jose says, it's the same story. Dark Order helps Paige, and Paige fails them. He says, you guys have to make themselves. Wait, what is this? You have to make
yourselves a star. Essentially, you can't rely on anybody else. You look out for number 1.
And then Roosh says, I'm going to eliminate all your asses. So I'm sure he's going to eliminate everybody in the Dark Order except for Hangman Page.
Seems to be the case. After that, we got Ethan Page versus Danhausen. This was quick. Page wins with Ego's Edge.
Yeah.
Really quick.
This is a really quick match here, but it doesn't matter. Danhausen's like, him and the Acclaimed are like the 2 most popular things in AEW. Then we had a Ricky Starks promo. He wants to get murdered by Hobbs again, apparently. He's blaming his dealings with the QT and the factory for his loss.
Yeah, he says QT and the factory took me off of Hobbs' trail. But now, Hobbs, you have my full attention.
I feel like they're doing this backwards. It should be Ricky Starks should be the bad guy here. Like Hobbs, like, right? Because he was the spotlight guy. Hobbs should have been the one to be like, hey, I'm going to get some singles gold now. And then Starks would be like, oh, fuck that. No, you're not. He lays out Hobbs and he uses a bunch of cheating methods, like street fights, Philadelphia street fights, to try to beat Hobbs. And you make Hobbs a good guy here. I don't know. That's sort of because I feel like Ricky Starks. I feel like Ricky Starks is. Well, no, I'm not saying now. They should have done that in the first place.
Gotcha.
Because I feel like Ricky Starks is like, I don't know. This was kind of lame. They do that pay-per-view squash match. And then they don't even get any more heat after that. Like Hobbs should have just kept on beating the shit out of him after that.
I know
match.
it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. That outcome didn't make a whole lot of sense. I know. And I don't know why Ricky Starks did this promo from the inside of a moving truck.
A lot of good questions being asked here and going.
Is there a metaphor there I'm not getting?
Yeah, he's packing up, moving to Stanford.
Moving on
after he does this. Well, yeah. What do you think about this match here? Hobbs. Unless Starks busts out something special, Hobbs just beat the shit out of him again, right?
Yeah, no. I know.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it should have been Hobbs the good guy and Starks the bad guy, but Starks is he's savvier and, has to use cheaty methods.
Maybe they'll do a double turn here. I don't know. And then we get our customary pre-main event interview. We got Josh Woods. We got Samoa Joe. Josh Woods says Joe's a fighting champ. That's exactly what you're going to get tonight. Sterling adds that Woods has been grinding while Joe has been on vacation. And after Woods wins the Ring of Honor TV title tonight, he's going to send Joe on another vacation, this time an extended one.
Oh, wow. He already had an extended one.
Yeah,
he was gone for a good days.
Show. Yeah, he was gone for a month and a half or something. Yeah. So Joe says when myself and Josh and Woods get in the ring, it's going to be a clear understanding about who the TV champ is. And Sterling, if you're still around when I'm done with Josh Woods, maybe we'll come to an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
I think Samoa Joe's agreement that he's going to beat the hell out of Mark Sterling.
Yeah, totally. He did, in fact, beat the hell out of Josh Woods. Get some muscle buster here to get the win.
It's all about, though.
Yeah, no, it was good stuff. Josh Woods is good. I don't know, I don't know. I guess he just featured him. Whenever Ring of Honor happens, just make him a featured guy and he'll be fine because he's got a great look. He's a good wrestler.
Yeah. They were really highlighting, the people he had beaten in Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Former champions and whatnot. So,
yeah.
Maybe once Ring of Honor gets up and gets going on its own, he'll be a featured guy there. Who knows?
When was that last pay-per-view?
Death Before Dis. That was late July.
All right. I wonder if they're going to do them quarterly. Or if they just don't even know.
I mean, because Final Battle's usually the end of the year. I want to say December.
Death Before Dishonor was a really good show.
I know.
It was a really good show. That Roosh Dragon Lee match is nuts.
I still got to watch that.
Yeah,
we got a Raw tonight.
Yes, we do.
Two segments announced. Seth Rollins taking on Bob Lashley for the U.S. title.
And then Kevin Owens and Austin Theory are once again going to collide. Also at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, is Enforcer and I booking SummerSlam for week 10 of my GM. It's back for two more weeks. So it's this week SummerSlam, and then we do another one. I don't know. I might try to convince Enforcer to do a second season of it. It was looking back now and watching it again, and seeing Rob's great edits on it. I might convince myself to give it another shot, like a second season. We'll see. It's all about the package. I got to figure out a good thumbnail design aesthetic for it, though. I think that's what's killing it. Anyways, that's going to do it for us here.
Hold on. There's something in here in the note says birthday shout out. What's this?
No, that's not this show. We're going to do that separate.
Sorry.
Yeah. We're going to answer your questions over at Friendo Club TV tomorrow morning in a video there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.